on this video, I'm going to explain symmetry with the x-axis, symmetry with the y-axis, and symmetry with the origin. Okay, so first of all, we're going to talk about what it means so that you understand it. Then we will talk about how to look at an equation and test it and see if it's symmetrical. Okay, so if something is symmetrical with the x-axis, you know, obviously this is the x-axis here, then it's a mirror image on top and bottom. So if you have something like that, it is symmetric to the x-axis. You could flip it over the x-axis. If you happen to have a point on it like 2, 3, then you have to also have the point on it 2, -3. So in general, we say that if you have any point on there AB, you have to also have a point on there A -B. Now, even over here, like that might be the point -5, 1. A can be negative. I'll write AB as if they're positive numbers. I don't put a negative on the variable A, but A itself could be negative. So if AB is -5, 1, then A -B means A, so that'd be -5, and -B means the opposite of B. And so the opposite of +1 is -1. I even could have AB in this quadrant. It works no matter what quadrant it's in. It does make the most sense to most people if you think of it as being in the first quadrant, then its reflection would be in the fourth quadrant. But basically you need to understand that if it's symmetrical over the x-axis, or if it's symmetric to the x-axis, it's flipped over the x-axis. Okay? Same with y-axis. It could be something like this. And they wouldn't even have to be a function. Well, these can't be functions. These are not functions because by definition, they can't be. I mean, if there's a point here and it has a reflection across the x-axis, then it can't be a function. So when we talk about something being symmetric to the x-axis, it's not a function. Like it could be a circle, it could be an ellipse, it could be lots of things. It could be a function and be symmetric to the y-axis. If we have the point here, 3, 7, then over here it has to be -3, 7. So in general, if you have some point AB, you have to also have the point -AB. So it could be a circle. You know, it could be a circle down here. So if you knew you had the point -7, -2, it's supposed to be a 2, then you would also know that you would have to have +7, -2, because that's what it means to be symmetric to the y-axis.
Would that be a function?
No, it would not. So if it's symmetric to the y-axis, it might be a function, it might not be. If it's symmetric to the x-axis, you know it's not a function. With the y-axis, it could be. Like this circle one is not a function, but this parabola is a function. So it could be either way when it's symmetric to the y-axis. Okay? Origin, I did not give myself enough room for, so we'll come down here. Origin is something like this. Something like y = x³. If you have a point on it, like let's say 2, 8, then you have to have -2, -8. You can think of it as a double flip. If you take this part of the equation and flip it over the y-axis, and then take that result and flip it over the x-axis, you end up in the same place. Or you could do the x-axis first, so flip it down and then flip it over. That works. You also can think of it as a 180-degree rotation. So imagine if you held the origin there and you rotated it around, then it would be symmetric to the origin. So in general here, we said it was AB goes to negative AB. Here, AB goes to negative A, negative B. You change the sign of both. Now they don't have to go from the first quadrant to the third quadrant. It could be like that. So in this case, AB might be negative 5, 3. So if that's your A and that's your B, the opposite of A is positive 5 and the opposite of B is negative 3. So both of those would be functions. You could have something like this. They wouldn't have to go through the origin. You know, this might have the point 2, 1/2 on it. Then it would also have negative 2, negative 1/2 on it. So it wouldn't have to go through the origin. A lot of them do, but they wouldn't have to. Okay, any questions about what they look like? Kind of what they mean? Okay, so if you have to test